I think society needs to find a living way that particularly makers and artists, that as humans we can make our way forward through through what we create. The Kiln Society is a complex composite component of a larger global society, but I hope it's a real one rather than a false one. And so looking at the way that academic models often work, particularly if they're coming from social sciences, where there's a kind of idea that data is qualitative and that you can kind of measure it and put numbers to it. I didn't want to create that kind of thing. And in that sense, it's as an academic endeavor, I haven't come across any other university anywhere that's doing this. So creating a complex, nuanced society in which you're free, in which you feel comfortable enough to exchange your ideas, I think is important. And part of what I wanted to do was to create a space that you could come to and not be judged.
Yeah.
So you do feel free to make mistakes. And by making mistakes, the more mistakes you make, the more you learn. When you come together, that kind of living is quite an intense sort of living. And you need a break from it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we go back to our studios quietly and think, thank God that's over for another month. And you quietly make some pots, and all the stuff that's there is digested and becomes part of our world. So you need a chance to go away and make it part of your world and make it something. And then when you need a boost, you come back and boom. So having created a society, you can't say, and my ideal society will be. That's not how, I mean, we don't know where our society will be tomorrow or next week, but we can nudge it towards what we would like it to be, which is why it's not an observation experiment. It's a participatory experiment with a distinctly political agenda, and the political agenda is exchange of knowledge, fairness to people, inclusion of people. It's actually about reducing exploitation as well.
You know, this comes back to something you said earlier as well, but you know, although there is no ideal society or ideal way you're trying to run the kilns, I think there is, on the negative side, there is ways you very much won't run it.
Yeah,
so I think
that's true.
Creating from a negative point of view by ruling out some structures, but not having a model of what it should be necessarily. So leaving that upper end of space, but saying there is this chunk that just isn't.
There are some things that we won't have. I will not have intolerance of other people for reasons of gender, age, you know, background, skill level, education. I'm not having that.
Yeah.
And again, going back to why I wanted to do ceramics, because there's such a fundamental component of human activity. It's durable. It's translatable globally. This isn't a niche thing that humans only do in one part of the world. Most people know something about ceramics because they
can't have gone through their life without coming across a piece of
a cup or a plate or a.
Yeah.
So it's instantly accessible, and that edges it toward, rather than AI or or things that we're not. You know, it's something that a 6-year-old can bring something to, and an 80-year-old Japanese living national treasure can bring something to, and it's all equally valid because it's all tied into our use and our lived experience, and they can meet each other on equal terms in that sense. If you can nudge away some of the things that would prevent that, and the project is essentially nudging away some of the things that would allow some people to dominate others, in order to create a productive learning and lived environment. It's not intended to be a project that you can plan in that sense, and it never was.
By year.
It was intended to be a seed that grows, or a stone in a pond. That was its intention, and that's its joy.